I don't know about you, but I certainly find it hard to balance when I'm putting my socks on and taking them off. And I often find myself falling back onto the bed of a morning while I'm putting my socks on. What about you, Alicia?
I'm with you there, Jack.
Okay.
You are not alone. And the good thing is, today we will be running through 3 useful balance exercises for your everyday life.
Okay, so let's get into the first exercise, and that's what we were just talking about, taking your socks off or putting your socks on. So first things first, make sure you're just in socks or in bare feet, and go grab a pair of socks if you're going to follow along. Now, there's actually a pretty hard balance exercise, Alicia, so what's the easiest version going to be here?
So I'm going to be using this box here to support myself, and you can use a bench or your bed at home, whatever. And I'm going to be balancing on one leg but supporting myself as much as I need to on the box while I take my sock off. I can also rest my leg on my thigh here.
Okay, that's a
Like
good
that.
one. And then you can just use that box to balance, and I'm going to do that without the box. So I'm not going to use my other leg to balance. I'm going to purely try to take my sock on and off, and it includes a bit of hip mobility. It's quite hard. Okay, and then try to put my sock back on. God, they're stinky, aren't they?
I can smell them from here.
Put that back on without putting my foot down. And this is often where people find they're falling back onto their bed. And then you can try your other foot, of course. So remember, taking your socks on, and then you have to obviously put them the right way around as always. And then, you know, if you need to use your leg for a bit of assistance, that's so tough, you can, but try to put your socks on and off without using that other leg. And that is really tough, especially when they're sweaty socks to put on. There we go. So it's a really simple, useful exercise, but it can actually be pretty fun. You could probably even do it as partners and get your partner to take your socks off for you. That's what my girlfriend does as well, so because they're too stinky for me to take off. Okay, Alicia, what's our second exercise that we can do to help us around the house?
Well, this is one that can help us to pick things up off the floor.
I like that.
Because we're often dropping things, or things might be children's or grandchildren's toys on the floor, and you might not always want to have to squat down to pick something up.
That's right.
So this exercise is called the water bird. And I will be doing an easier version using the box. Okay. And I'm going to stagger my feet like I'm doing a track start, and I'm going to reach down and bend down towards the ground to touch the floor that way.
Okay, so the harder variation, classic water bird movement, you might have seen it before as well, is lifting that one leg off the ground now and trying to go down and touch. Okay, so if you quickly drop a bit of paper down on the ground, you can just pick it up without having to bend down so low, okay? So that's a really tough one.
That is a really tough one.
Because you have to balance all on that one leg and touching.
But something you can work towards by starting with the easier version, and then gradually you could even take your back leg a little bit off the ground and come down and touch the floor like that.
That's a very good point. You could even have an object that you, every time come down, pick up, and then put it back down with that water bird, and then so on and so forth. Okay, so that's exercise number 2. That is a good one, Alicia. Well, I'll get stuck into exercise numero 3 here. This is one of my favorites. Okay, it's balancing a ball on a book, or a little bit more kind of lifelike, is balancing an actual cup of water on a saucepan.
Cup and saucer, that's right.
So all we're doing here is mimicking something like carrying a hot cup of coffee around the house and having to step over things. So a classic dual tasking exercise. So we've got a balance exercise with another kind of hand balancing exercise, I guess you could say. So either grab a book and a tennis ball, or a cup of hot steaming coffee on a saucer. And all we're going to be doing here, Alicia, is stepping over objects. So you've got a
I've just got a half full bottle of water, and you've got some books there.
I've got some books that I'm going to place out in a little bit of a game here. So Alicia, what are you doing for the easy exercise?
So first of all, I'm going to step forward and then back, and I'm going to alternate my feet, right foot and left foot. And then if I want to make it a little bit harder, I'm going to step all the way over forwards and then all the way backwards, and trying to keep the cup and saucer steady.
I was going to say, maybe obviously you don't want to spill the hot water. It doesn't have to be hot, of course. And then I'm going to try to keep this ball bouncing on this book, and I'm going to be stepping over, okay, the objects, all the way around. Might make a little bit of a course, and then I might step
going
back.
backwards now.
And that might be another way to do it. Or you could do the same sidestepping.
Going sideways.
Keeping the ball over like this. That's mimicking having to do 2 different tasks at once. So our pool of attention for balance isn't so concentrated in on that one exercise. Very hard exercise indeed.
Very challenging.
Yeah, make sure you're not doing it on carpet because you might have to have a pretty sizable cleaning bill for that one after you spill all your coffee. So Alicia, there's 3 exercises that are kind of closely mimic some of our daily tasks. And we think they're pretty fun, but also useful for your balance. And when can these people do the exercises?
You can do them whenever you like. Whenever, you might put something on in the kitchen and then spend a few minutes doing these exercises, or you could incorporate them at the end of your training sessions.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And we know with balance, you can't really do too much, okay? Because there's not high levels of fatigue with balance training, so you can do lots and lots of these exercises per week. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed the video and make sure you don't spill any of that coffee.